Welcome, welcome to the MenoStart living room. This is not your typical doctor's office. We actually have a living room, and you spend time hanging out with your favorite doctor, your favorite trainer, and other awesome members of the MenoStart community.
We're not taking care of people in the right way in this space.
Movement to me is the big thing. Everybody can't get to the gym.
There are more women experiencing menopause than there are experiencing pregnancy and motherhood combined.
I think about this as being like healthcare 3.0.
Welcome to the living room.
That's it, yeah. Hey, how are you?
It's great to be here with you. It's so great to be here talking about MenoStart. I'm so passionate about the work that we've all been doing, right? The four of us have been this just team bringing this concept to women here in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. And so I think this is a chance for people to get to know what MenoStart's really about and the two amazing founders behind it. So please introduce yourself, Dr. Cothran.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm Shannon Cothran, board certified OBGYN and founder of Meno-Start. Perimenopause and menopause is an important part of a woman's life. Every woman goes through this phase. Not everyone has a baby. Not everyone does other things, but everyone does this. And then there's a real hole in the care that we're giving women in this stage. And I wanted to give people more attention, more options, more personalized care in this part of their life, and really give them the tools to move forward for the next best phase. So decided to found MenoStart.
Nice.
Well, I'm Dulany Washington, and I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm proud to be a part of MenoStart, focus a lot on women's health. I think I get to a certain phase in life where the body starts to change, and how do I adapt to that particular change, whether it's through age or whatever. So my thing is I try to show about how your body can change, but how you can adjust with the change. It's not the end of anything, it's a start. So nutrition, fitness, health, all of it ties in together to make you, just as productive as you've always been.
That's great. And Deanna?
Sure. Deanna Jones. I'm a woman who is navigating this menopausal journey. So I just happen to be at that phase of life that you said that all women go through. And I want to make sure that I, first of all, am optimizing my health and wellness and really adding to the longevity that I hope to have in life. But also I'm a huge advocate for this work and the way that it changes the way that we think about healthcare and wellness in this moment, and particularly for women who are in this stage of life. I'm a former business executive, so I love also helping businesses that are trying to do something different and really drive change in industries that have done things the same way for a long period of time.
And I was drawn to the idea because of that too, the innovative vision. So Shannon, it's hard to call you Dr. Cothran because you're you're just so personable, and people love you and value you and respect you so much. And I know how much thousands of women have counted on you here in the DC area, not only to deliver their babies, but to take care of them. And when I saw you recognizing that medicine needs to change and watching you ask yourself, how can I be a part of that change? What can I do? I just really got excited about the concept. And so to me, it's just a joy to be a part of the team to help get the operations off the ground over these last couple of years, to help bring the value to clients that have decided, yes, I want something more from my medical care, and have come to MenoStart. How does it feel to see what you've created be a reality? How does it feel to be taking care of clients, patients, clients in ways that really do contribute to their longevity?
Honestly, it feels great. That part is the most energizing part for me. Talking about what I know, really being able to get into it with people, and more so partnering with people on their health. Women are smart. They can look online and find the same information I have, but it's the navigating that information together with my experience, having the combination with the fitness and the wellness, really expands the tools in the toolbox. And it's been a joy. I've been learning from people more than I was in private practice because I have the time and space to do that as well. So that part has been wonderful.
Yeah, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Deanna, you're someone that understands business, understands market needs, and then you also understand what it's like to experience menopause.
Yeah.
What's drawn you to MenoStart? Because you're here as a client and you're also here as an advisor to the business and supporting the business in reaching more and more women here in the DC area and maybe someday nationwide too,
yes,
right?
that's my hope.
That's
my
your hope.
So
I
that
know.
I can more closely access the services. So I think what I would start with is, I mean, Dulany and Shannon are amazing people, and they make you feel so welcome. And Dulany, I just today doing some of the workouts with you, you know, it's just inspiring to be like, oh, I need to really focus in on different things associated with building strength and continuing to get to do the things that I've always loved my entire life. And then Shannon, you know, spending time with you, it is truly like a partnership where you have someone who you can really trust to have very intimate conversations about concerns you have or, you know, family history and how I should be navigating or thinking about these things. So I think it starts with just who you are as individuals and professionals. Also, for me, I think the combination of healthcare with fitness and wellness and the fact that the two things together are incredibly powerful for creating a different cadence to life in this moment. And not everyone has had access to the wellness or fitness aspects. You know, all of us come to our life differently. Some of us were athletes, some of us were not. Some of us went through childbirth, some of us did not. And so just having that open ability to just have that whole conversation, I think really makes a difference. And I know we've talked about, like, I think about this as being like healthcare 3.0. So it's really focused in on being preventative and thinking about that, optimizing your longevity and your wellness over the entire, you know, structure of your life, not just treating once you actually have something wrong. It's really about what can I do right, or as right as possible. And so I think those to me are the reasons. It's just, you know, something very unique, and I love the combination and then the people.
What I really value about the practice is that you just reimagined and you had spent years thinking about how can I take care of women better, and especially too in a season where maybe mainstream medicine hasn't given it as much focus as other areas of medicine, right? Like to me, it's shocking to know there are more women experiencing menopause than there are experiencing pregnancy and motherhood combined, right? So you have the majority of women in a season where healthcare perhaps needs to do more for them. Did this contribute to your vision? Is this
absolutely
part of why you took the risk that you did to change the way medicine is given and provided to women in this season?
Yeah, I could see the frustration of my patients and myself when I would have a menopause consult on the schedule. It would kind of feel a little bit like dread because I knew what we were going to talk about is not going to fit in that 15-minute slot. You know, it just can't. And so there wasn't enough time or space. And then, you know, that's stressful, and patients can feel your stress. You know, they don't feel comfortable asking you things. You never get to the kind of cause of what's going on. And one of my patients asked me, like, well, who are the experts in this? And I thought, us, you know, gynecologists, obviously, we're women's health advocates and experts. But it kind of, just the fact that she asked that question was a light bulb for me that we're not taking care of people in the right way in this space. Like, that she and her friends had talked and didn't know where to turn, even though she was seeing me the next day for her annual. You know, it was a real wake-up call because, you know, we weren't servicing them well. And then getting to know you, talking to Dulany, and realizing there is a bigger conversation about this. And then when we talked, the health is wealth, and, you know, like, you invest in your retirement, you need to invest into yourself, all of those things coming together, and like, we could do this, you know, we could make this work in a different way.
What made you so much thinking that it's an imperative that you have to bring the wellness and the medical together, right? Because Coach Dulany brings such an awesome value to people. I mean, just meeting you and knowing you and how deeply you care about helping women find their stride, whether they're amazingly experienced in the gym or whether they are not at all interested in anything that has to do with fitness and don't necessarily see the relevance or feel like they have what it takes to be successful on that side of things. First, we'll start with you. Why the vision to bring them both together? And then Dulany will talk about how do you approach each client of the MenoStart practice? Because I know they're all coming from different places.
Right.
We had talked about, I started personal training myself after the birth of my third baby. And, working with Coach, it really completely changed my life. And I thought, I wish everybody had access to this. But I think one-on-one training, even 11 years ago was thought of as kind of, an elite thing that, only certain people at a certain income level could afford. And just realizing how much healthier I was, wanting to figure out a way that more people can access it. And that expertise and, just learning about how my body moved, even though I'm a physician, so many things I didn't know. So combining it, the concept kind of came from my own personal successes there and wanting to give more people access to that. And I think sometimes the big gyms can feel a little intimidating to people. It's not as much of a community, which I also wanted to have. So that's how that happened.
Yeah, definitely. And how do you, each woman that comes through MenoStart and has their experience here is in a totally different position with their openness to wellness and fitness too.
Yeah. Well, one thing I look at is that there's no cookie cutter formula. That's the first thing. Everybody's different. So, in my initial interviewing with people, before I even talk about the fitness and your exercise, I want to know about you. Are you married? Do you have a support system or not? You have kids. What's your job? What time you have to go to work? Are you able to get up in the morning? How do you feel in the morning? I like to go through all those things first, and just to get to that part, because it's more to it than just getting out and lifting a bunch of weights. There's a lot more to it than that. People have lifestyles. So are you able to get your sleep proper? I like to find out all those type of things first before we start jumping into. Okay, so tell me what it is that you've been doing. What have you done in the past? What's your experience like? Even when it comes to the next part about nutrition, I know we get a little crazy on that, but just give me the basics. Tell me kind of what you do. We'll delve into that part right there. I talk about, injury history, because if I'm thinking about exercises for you, do certain movements hurt you? Have you ever done this type of movement before? Is there anything, that I need to know from a doctor? I want to know all those type of things first.
And you've got the doctor right here.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sometimes we do say.
Yeah, I know. Hey. I'll go through the whole thing because I want to be secured with that person. And then as we start talking more, it depends. Since everybody's different, I like to just listen first. And I really don't just come up with something. I want to take and analyze first where you're at. I believe a lot in functional movement, period, because of just everyday things that we do. Sitting down, getting into your car, lifting up grocery bags, whatever it is. Movement to me is the big thing. Everybody can't get to the gym, and you're not going to show up at the gym every day. So what can I do on my own? What can I do? Give me something that's basic for me to do. And I like to work it to where, how do you normally live your life? Do you sit down all day? Let's look at certain things that you may need to do this for stretching and, whatever it happens to be for that person. And then come up with the formula. And I think over a period of time, that's why I like, you just can't give like a workout and just say, here you go, see you later. It's a progressive thing. How do I progress from here? And how do I move to the next level? And when do I need to change? And how should I look at this? And that's us sitting down and talking to it. I look at it as a partnership. When we talk about navigating, I remember you said the word navigating. And that got me to thinking too, is navigating through a period of time in life. How do I navigate through this? And how can I work this into my normal life too? If I'm working my job, or if I travel a lot, what can I do if I travel? How can I, can I still work out? What should I look for as eating? If I go out to eat a lot, what should I look for in that? So when we sit down, we talk about those things and partner up together and do it too.
Now, I love the sense of partnership. And I know, Shannon, when you were inventing the concept and you were starting with the best patient-client experience, the best medical care for a woman in perimenopause or menopause, what would it require? I know you recognized that it couldn't just be an appointment. It needed to be that program.
Right.
And I know you were also very conscious about trying to make the cost as affordable and as accessible as possible. Why a 6-month program? Why did you land on not just an appointment, but an experience? And I sense too that a lot of this is preparing someone for decades ahead. So having a woman invest for 6 months, yet the reward or the return for her can be for decades into the future. So why a program and not just one quick appointment with you?
Great question. So I do feel like it's more of a launching into this phase because, menopause, people talk about I'm postmenopausal or I'm in menopause. Once you go through menopause, you're in menopause now for the rest of your life. So, that it can be, 40 years of your life, which is great. Like, that's good. It's not something to be dreaded. But what I really wanted to do was kind of launch people into this phase with the tools that they need. And that's where the program is. The concept of the program came about because it's not just, like you said earlier, the disease-based care, like, oh, I'm having this symptom, I have this disease. Menopause is not a disease, it's a phase of your life. And so you need more than one appointment, and we're not fixing it. We're giving people the tools they need to thrive, through the phase. And so that's going to take some time, and then you're ready to graduate.
And I love it too when people graduate, they want to stick around with you and your medical care. And so I love it too that women can have woman care here, and they can consistently come back year over year, and you know them. You really know them. They are not a file. They are a person that you walked with for a period of time and got to know them very well, and then get to stay in their menopause story and journey.
And a lot of times people will come in with a pain point, if it's sleep or hot flashes or metabolism, and we kind of make that better. And then they're like, also I'm having this issue. And so having the program and the 6 months gives that time to find, all the layers of what's happening that people may not even know the first visit that they get here, that
so much of menopause feels like a mystery, right? I'm on more of the front end of it, kind of looking at it coming on the horizon for me. And I've learned so much that I didn't even realize, like certain things you would share with me. Well, hey, that's probably connected to perimenopause, or that's probably connected to some transitions your body's going through, right? And I love that I have this resource, and that's, I think, another reason I'm so excited to have people understand MenoStart and the value it brings. But Deanna, I'm curious for you, were there mysteries of menopause for you?
There were a lot of mysteries. And actually during the period of time that it was a mystery, where I would say, it's coming, it's on the horizon. It's not like, oh, this is a surprise something, I was doing a lot of research, like you said, online, trying to find facilities that focused in on it, because there isn't enough time when you go for your annual exam to really get into a conversation. And really, that's what it is. It's like you're doing a learning session over that period of time of we're unlocking some of these mysteries. And also, I think testing and trying things. So, when you start a hormone treatment, it's not like that's a mystery. How is your body going to react? How are you feeling? And so to be able to have that ongoing dialogue and conversation during that transition, I think is really important. And that's why I think the program versus when I think about, I would go for my well woman exam once a year, 15 minutes, there's not enough time to really talk about anything. And I honestly have probably embarrassed some of the younger practitioners because I would talk about things that they probably didn't think I was still
just
interested
fired off
in.
Really quick.
Yeah, exactly. So being able to have uncomfortable conversations over a period of time, because you build more comfort and trust to have those uncomfortable conversations as well, where you say, this is in my best interest. This is really about the next 40 years of my life. it is an investment, and I need to learn, and I need that time to open up and feel comfortable, the same that you would if you went into a classroom and you were learning about a topic that you didn't really know. So you can research a certain amount online, but it's great to have the back and forth dialogue that is really tailored to your specific situation, your specific scenario, and say, will this work for me? Will this not work for me? What should I be focused on? How can I make sure that I'm doing what's best, like that, bespoke or catered, just time, right? It really is just the time to get to know someone and feel really comfortable to have those conversations, because otherwise we're just all navigating in the dark with our friends. And, I have people who are like, try these supplements, I tried this protein powder. There's just all sorts of things that are marketed to you, as opposed to a conversation about, well, how do you feel about that? Or what do you think you need?
With a physician,
With
right?
a physician,
With a physician who has
Right.
2 decades of understanding the nuances of the menopause experience. I think one of the things that's exciting too is just the access that you have provided clients of MenoStart. They can text you, they can jump on the phone for a quick conversation. They don't have to wait or work to navigate an endless portal of prompts.
Right.
They can just reach right out to you and get their concerns addressed pretty quickly. That was important to you. Why? Why did you want just people to have so much access to you when they need you?
Because I did want it to be, almost like a friend, where, people that knew me for a long time from other context, soccer mom, dance mom friends, my high school friends, would text me and say, hey, I'm having this thing, I can't get into the doctor for 6 weeks. Like, do you think I need an antibiotic? And I could text them back, and I thought, I wish everybody had that friend, and they're like, wait a minute.
I can be that.
I can be that, for some people, in private practice, there's so many people, it's not hard. But being able to kind of really focus on the clients that we have here, I can be your GYN neighbor best friend. It's like having a mechanic live next door or something like that.
My car's making this noise. Right. There's something going on.
I was going to say something about her access. Too.
Sure.
She really, I'm not in a conversation with her, but she really gives her time. Sometimes I'm like, you're still talking? Because
Yeah, she no longer thinks of 15 minutes.
no, she just doesn't. She just goes.
Like,
but
maybe we should do 90.
But I love it because it's great because she comes out and she's laughing and joking, and you can tell the person is totally relaxed, like they feel totally at home, like somebody really took the time to really listen to me also too. And that, I smile about that a lot because that's what she does. So, people come on, they're laughing, they're joking, they're having a great time, but I know she's gotten the point across too. About what she needs to talk about too. So
I see that with you too, when I'm in my office and I hear you guys out there, with your clients, and you work in the nutrition while they're exercising, and at the end they're like, oh, we're done. It didn't even it's not like an hour class where you're hoping to be done.
I think
it's a great experience.
People love coming is the thing. I think it's the thing about it. They enjoy
because
coming.
it's so much flexibility, right?
Right.
Like it's on demand. We have clients that come by once a week. We have clients that want to be here a little more. We have clients that come once a month, and that's the key. Every woman. Because let's be real, all of our clients are really busy professionals, and everyone gets to pick what the right experience is for them. So it's not mandatory, you have to do this or you must do that. It's more, we're walking together for 6 months. It's no pace, no race. You decide. And I know that when people spend time with you, you might steer them towards, hey, let's work a little bit on bone density, or hey, the sexual health conversation that we're going to have is going to be right on point for you. And so you can help people pick what makes their experience best. And it's schedule dependent. And I love that people can have appointments with you on the phone. They can just have a phone call.
Right.
Because sometimes Tyson's area traffic, maybe you can't get here, or just your schedule. And yet
that's where it's private for you, is in your car.
Yeah, it
and you're
feels
driving
safer.
home, and that's a time when you could talk about maybe things that are uncomfortable. If you were at home or in your office, you don't want everyone to hear. So the flexibility of that, and we have the virtual options, phone calls, and in person, obviously. Being out of network, which means not participating with insurance plans, really allows that flexibility. And so that's been important to me to be able to do that.
Let's talk about that, right? Because that's the difference with MenoStart, right? I don't come in, I don't get asked for my insurance card. I'm more of a member. I pay a fee, I have a 6-month experience, and then I pay a very affordable fee to have a year of wellness care and access to your great mind and expertise and your knowledge of me as a client. Why a cash pay practice? And I think I'll start actually with Deanna first to answer that question, right? Just thinking about people looking at their health as an investment in a different way, and also thinking about our clients as consumers and just getting much better service perhaps than they do in today's system that many will say just isn't working for them or isn't flexibly designed for them. And I think many women experiencing menopause have a good case when they say that.
Yeah, to me, I think the cash pay, it comes back to time and flexibility. So there's a lot of other parts of our life where we're very comfortable to pay for time and flexibility. And somehow in healthcare, because we have insurance, we think, well, everything should go through that particular portal. And I think there's ways to use parts of things that we pay into, like a health savings account and those types of things, to access these types of programs. But when you say 40 years of my life, I'm going to be in a state that for 40 years, my body is probably changing and deteriorating in ways that I need to be in front of. When you think about that investment that you're making over that long arc of 40 years, I go back to health is wealth, right? We're taught, how do we save, money so that in retirement we can make sure that we're drawing on that. There's no amount really that, to me, that preventative, that educational piece is so important. And so to do the cash pay, to me, to access the level of expertise in both areas, to have that at your fingertips, like, like you say, texting, I have a quick question, I'm up in the middle of the night, I can send an email, I can, do whatever, and I'll get a response the next day because I'm thinking about it in that moment. So to me, the accessibility makes it's something that we would do. And I think as women, I have a lot of self-care practices that, I pay into, maybe sometimes with memberships or not, but if we think about that, this is another one of those areas at this time of life that just makes a lot of sense. And so again, what I get for my 15 minutes on my annual versus this service is two totally different things. You're looking at two totally different levels of interaction and knowledge and growth, really, in this period of time.
And I think that's key too, right? This was a 6-month program by intention to help people launch into a season, or if they haven't had access to great care, get that great care and education and learning experience. And then it's a very minimal charge to just stick around for the rest of your wellness needs going forward, right? It's just allowing people to have that, build that deep partnership with you to get that deep understanding, and for them to get what they need at, again, that pace that fits a busy woman's schedule to be able to make time for herself for 6 months. And I do think that that's a little interesting thing too. It's sometimes hard for us as women. Dulany, I'll leave you out of this, but for us to put ourselves first and to make that investment for us. And this is an investment that has return for so long to come.
And even in my 30s, when I started with Dulany, it felt like, this is a lot of money for a trainer, like, what am I doing? But I'm healthier now at 50 than I was at that time in 30, because of exercising. And so we can combine that, like you were saying, that experience, and the medical, it's just a huge, really invaluable. And so I think that I'm excited to give people access to that.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit too, because MenoStart it's not a gym, yet we have a gym, right?
Yeah.
And so, Dulany, I know a lot of your time over the 6-month period is about helping that woman become confident and independent about what's the best trajectory for her, right? And I know there's some folks here at MenoStart that are hardcore experienced fitnistas, what would I call them, right?
Yes, yeah.
And then there's folks just very new to wellness in general, and maybe fitness isn't even on the horizon for them.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you literally coach and mentor over the 6 months so that that woman can leave the program feeling in charge of that piece of the equation for herself.
Well, one thing I'd like to do is, since everybody's at a different level, I mean, I was telling Shannon, one of the best blessings that I personally had was somebody who had rheumatoid arthritis, had never touched anything ever before, never.
In the gym? Never?
Never.
Yeah.
Had never, ever been in the gym. And so she came initially to see Shannon, and then she came over to see me. And once I talked to her, I said, okay, she's never done anything at all like this. She's got rheumatoid arthritis. You got to be aware of those type of things as well, too. So I just started out very, very basic things, show her how she could do some very basic things, whether it's, sitting up and down into a chair or, going against the wall maybe to do some pushes or things like that, just to see what she could do first. How did it affect her body? Okay, these type of things don't work for you, so let's not do that. And so that to me was her foundation, working through that. And as we progress along, and I like to keep track of everything. I keep track of weight, body fat, the exercises, because I'm kind of anal like that. So, okay.
You like the data and the analytics.
And plus if they, say if they go someplace, okay, I want to do something at home. Okay, so let's work this out. Let's work it out here, what you can do. I'll give you this to take home with you. So now you can practice this, And I've also done videos.
I know, I love it. People that want travel workouts, their own personal workout, and just bands and things they can package.
Bands, I said, whatever, if you use your body. And I like to take a video. Okay, so this is, because a lot of times we look on YouTube and you see somebody doing it. I'm not knocking what they're doing, but it's different if you see yourself actually doing it and somebody's guiding you through how to do it. And so this is how your body is supposed to look when you're doing this particular thing, on that part. And then we talk about, about the nutritional aspects. It's more than just the working out part. I mean, you got to have the other part too, and getting to the basics. I mean, I don't believe in making it complicated because I don't think it's a complicated thing. We sit down, let's examine what it is that you're doing. Maybe we can put a little tweak here, put a little tweak there, whatever it happens to be. Maybe it's more water, whatever. But whatever works out where you are, and then let's progressively move along. So, if we're doing workouts, we start out here. The next month, we're going to do this. Okay, we're going to progress up. The next month, we're going to progress up. We're going to do this. And so you start to build their own portfolio too. So where if they go someplace to do something, now they have something to go by, And then at the end of the time, a lot of times the way cycles go is like you go to a certain point, then you kind of cycle back around again anyway to the beginning. But they've already had that foundation. So if you leave out after the time, you graduate, you move on, you've got something that you can work with too, and work it according to whatever your schedule happens to be. We work it out that way, So I do whatever works out for you. Let's make that work. We can make anything work.
I know. I love the flexibility, right? People can come in on a weekend. They can come in before work. They can come in after work. They have midday flexibility. There's just a lot. It is that client at the center.
Yeah.
What are the results you're seeing? So you had this vision. You opened doors of this beautiful office here in Tyson's. Now you've had clients coming through and the word is getting out and the practice is filling. What are the success stories? What are the results? What's making you excited when you're seeing the vision you put together really work for women?
I think the biggest success I'm seeing is what was my hope coming true, which is just more confidence, that people are more confident. It's not, just like you were saying, it's basic stuff, that we don't have a magic formula, but it's the validation and the listening and then, the therapeutics with the, movement and all of those things. And then people, they find a confidence and a voice that lets them be like, okay, this isn't something to dread. This is something to embrace.
I'm also
and
seeing
I love that.
On the medical side, a lot of relief.
Yeah.
I'm seeing women that, we know there's a lot of non-physician-based, non-evidence-based solutions out there.
Right.
People actually spending lots of money, lots of time, some safety risks.
Right.
And I'm seeing people just be relieved that if they've been suffering from symptoms, they're getting relief. And then they're also getting that kind of trusted care that's very valid.
Yeah.
And they're avoiding some of the risks that are out there.
And
you're changing people's lives.
Yeah,
I think about clients that came in so upset. This was their last effort, their last stop, right? And then they're leaving just a couple months later. A lot of them are getting immediate relief to symptoms with some of the things you're able to prescribe or some of the ways you're able to take them back off of certain supplements or different things that they've started that might not be healthy. I just see a lot of solution and resolution.
Yeah, I agree. I'm seeing that too. There's a lot of information happening with menopause right now, which is great. People are accessing it on social media, their friend groups, wherever. Books are happening and being written, and it's awesome. So people are learning the language for the questions that they have. But the downside of that is some of the solutions out there that you're hearing about, they sound too good to be true and a little bit oversimplified. And so that's where having the time and the space to really get into what's going on and, what you need, not just like, hey, here's your bag of pills, let me know if you have any issues. You don't even know what issues you're supposed to have. So I do have a lot of people coming in who have already accessed some other, supplements or even medications or hormones or something, but not all of their questions were answered about it. And being able to give them time and clarification, but also, real, like, nothing's too good to be true. We still have to do some things, some basic things. So, that's been great.
Like a proven path versus
a proven path.
Speculative.
Yeah. And this is why they're saying that, kind of the history of it. And that's where it is nice that I've had, 20 years since med school. Of that experience and seeing the evolution of what's been happening in this space. I can speak to, this is where this came from, which is nice.
I think too, I'm a professional and I felt like menopause was about maybe losing an edge or I would fall behind, or I've seen things now that I recognize are perimenopause symptoms like brain fog or certain sleep disruptions. And I would start to get anxious, like I'm going to lose my performance edge, I'm going to lose productivity. And then come to find out there's a study that the Mayo Clinic actually did that they defined a pretty interesting bracket that productivity loss due to menopause experiences is an estimated $1.8 billion a year. And I know you have been a senior executive in corporate America. Talk to me a little bit about how you think this productivity loss unfolds and what you've seen with the thousands of women that have looked to you for leadership.
Yeah. So I think it comes back to a little bit of, when you're doing research, you're quantifying it in, okay, that's coming out of this particular pocket of your life. And so I think you have these symptoms, there's things that are going on and you're like, oh, is it normal stress? Is it something, the intensity of my job, or is it to do with menopause? And so you, as a successful professional or executive, you double down. And so you start working harder at your work, which probably takes away from some of the other things that we should be doing in this phase of life as women to make sure that our health and wellness is there, or maybe the relationships that we have. And so I think the productivity loss is in your own life. So at a time when you should be prioritizing sleep and making sure that you're working out, you're probably giving up some of those things in the same way that you always have to work a little bit harder to offset, hey, like I don't seem to be quite as quick or as sharp. And, what are some of those little adjustments? And I think those are the things where, one of the simplest things during that period of time was, no, I actually need to prioritize the sleep. So if something's going to drop off the table, it's not the sleep. The sleep is actually going to help me make sure that I can be focused. And I think it is the can I have a conversation with someone about would hormone replacement therapy actually be something that would be good for me and help me, you know, with all of those things that are happening. But I think we're in isolation. A lot of times we're not having conversations with anyone. And I think that to me is the danger more than, you know, this is how it's impacting over that period of time, is just if I have no one else to talk to about, like, at any other time of my life, how do I optimize performance in this moment? And that may look totally different than how I optimize performance at a different point in life. So I think it is a huge thing, because I think a lot of women maybe are leaving the workforce earlier than they would like to, or choosing, you know, a different stage of their career, or downshifting, or not thinking that they're going to have the same energy or enthusiasm for the work that they do, versus actually having a conversation and looking at ways that they can address that. For that, again, that long curve of, if you think about it as a 40-year investment in your performance, yes, what got you here won't get you there. You know, I mean, that's a classic business line. It's the same thing, I think, for women in this stage of life. And so I think the study actually is great in the sense that as a woman, you can't wait. You do need to prioritize it, and you do need to spend the time to understand how it's impacting or affecting you. And the sooner you do it, so this, you know, if you're starting to be in perimenopause, or you're hitting this stage of life, you know, I'm turning 40, the earlier I think you're having those conversations and doing what we do at MenoStart, the better off that you're going to be. So the sooner you're getting in for that 6-month program, the more knowledge you're going to have to really change all of your habits.
And the great relationships you're going to build with two amazing superstars that can advise you and support you and mentor you. And I just like the range of creative solutions, right? Like the idea of microdosing testosterone, right? I mean, I could read about that online, but to be able to have a detailed conversation with you about that, and to think about what would that do? How would that add value? Is that a fit for me? Hey, I'm scared of medicine. I don't know, you know, just all the different aspects of a decision like that to do something. But again, to do something that I wouldn't even know existed unless I had spent time with two really, really talented professionals.
And I'd like to focus too on the hope. To give people hope, because when you're feeling this way and you've gotten to a certain level of your career, your life, your childbearing, whatever, your relationship, and then you start to feel all these feelings that you have in perimenopause, and you're like, well, I guess that's it, you know, and people lose hope. But we want to give people hope that this next phase can be great. You know, it's not the end, it's the start, which you know, Meno-Start, and there's still a lot for you to give, and you can feel good. You know, there's a lot of anti-aging kind of bias as well, which we're trying to turn around, not just Meno-Start, but I think people our age, like, it's okay to admit that we're going through menopause. You know, 20 years ago, that wasn't the case. And, you know, you weren't allowed to even talk about it at work. So now it's good. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot of good things that are happening.
And there are a lot of options.
A lot of options.
And I think it's inclusive too. I mean, Dulany, we've often talked about, how do you get men involved? How do you help men understand? And I know that's, I know that you.
I know we can understand it. Okay. Understanding, and I'm not sure if that's the right word or not. But,
just tell us you do. That's all we want to hear.
I totally understand everything.
Yeah, perfect.
I mean, you know, I thought a lot about, like, when my wife was going through it. And we never really talked about it at all. You know, I knew something was up. She never really talked to me about it. I didn't really talk to her about it, but obviously there were different things happening, where it was being irritable, or the hot and cold thing, and we just never did. And I was kind of, sometimes I could feel myself getting angry because I didn't know what was going on. I would kind of ask her what was going on. She really wouldn't tell me what was going on. And so that made me even more so. I'm like this, I need to, you know, and guys, we like to fix things, okay? So we want to know, tell me what's going on so I can fix this and make this thing right, okay? And when you don't get that, it can get kind of frustrating in that. And, you know, I look back now, and that's the thing about it for me now. I can look back now and see certain things along the way that I didn't really recognize along the way. And if when things are happening, I think communication is a big thing. You know, we need to kind of talk about it, and then understanding also too, you know, that there's going to be those types of moments. We don't go through those type of things. We don't experience those type of things. So as much empathy as you can have, you know, and I think also you got to have to move aside your own feelings, you know. For us, you know, I mean, we got to move aside our own feelings, you know, like someone just snapped at me and all of a sudden I'm going to be ready to snap right back, you know. Hold on for a second. Slow down for a second. So
I know you lost your wife to cancer.
Yeah.
Do you think about the work you're doing today with women experiencing menopause and the partners that they have in their life as a bit of honoring her legacy and honoring your relationship with her?
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course, you know, I keep my wife on my desk. It still is a reminder, but watching her, she went through that part, go through the cancer part, and even for me, looking at her, if I get emotional, excuse me, but for 7 years she had stage 4, but she never complained, you know. She went through it, and that's the thing, talking about being strong, you know, to go through that, to have to take the pills, go through the chemo, all those type of things. She went through all that, but I never once heard her even say, why me? Or question, but and I knew there were times she was going through some rough times. But so for me, yeah, I want to, if there's a way that I can help somebody to navigate through things like that, and my experience in life also too, you know, since I've had to go through a lot in life, experience that if I can help somebody to get more confidence, to feel better about themselves, to me that is a way of honoring her also too. And then for men, for us to just get into a better understanding, learn more about it. Don't be scared to learn about this stuff. You know, reach out, study, understand, so you know, so you can communicate together. You know, and if you're a partner with somebody, you know, to help your partner out. You know, it's about lifting each other up. So, sorry if I got a little emotional.
No, I value your emotions. I know clients know you have a deep empathy, and I think I get the honor of understanding why you are so approachable and empathetic and just giving of your heart to people that are working to navigate a season that can feel mystifying at times. You bring a lot of clarity. What would you say, Shannon, to the woman thinking about being a part of MenoStart? Like, what do you want to tell her? Because it is innovative, it is different, and it is, I know, so valuable. Deanna knows so valuable.
I would say go to the website.
No. You do need people to click to do that.
Click on it.
Yeah.
Which is really easy, by the way.
That's right.
We're ready to
Great
go.
option here.
Yeah.
Make it easy.
No, we do want it to be easy, you know, to get started, and that it's going to be a personalized experience, you know, that we want you to feel like your true self, and, you know, we're excited to get started with that.
And I think it's so exciting to see that this is a company, MenoStart, that is being built woman by woman, because people are coming here and having amazing experiences, and then they're telling 5, 6, 7 other people. And I think that is what is powerful. It is women helping women understand that better care is here. And I would tell anybody thinking about MenoStart, just come here and experience it for yourself. And I think that's why we tried to structure things in a very, you know, no obligation way. You sign up for 1 month, see how you feel, have an experience with Dulany, get a great consultation with Shannon. Any concerns about the cost or your time commitment start to dissipate when you really see the value and you get to experience that value firsthand. What would you say, Deanna, to a woman thinking about, is this a fit for me? This is different.
I echo what you said with the give it 1 month, but when I've worked with change or transition, I always tell people give it 6 months. You know, you need that time to really immerse yourself. And I think that's what I would tell women is, this is a moment in time where taking the time to immerse yourself in a setting that is so comfortable, you can really feel like there isn't anything that you couldn't have a discussion about or address. And giving yourself that time in this moment will have like just so many rewards out into the future. To me, just experiencing it myself, and I don't live in this area, but it makes me wish that I did, because then I would come in and see Dulany.
That's what's surprising, right? The people traveling in because this care is not available anywhere else.
Because this care isn't available anywhere else. And I just think that it's hard to even articulate the value of that, and having searched for it and being willing as someone to say, I'll fly anywhere, I'll go to whatever state I need to go to, because, I have a, family history of people who are in very good health, and I know I'm going to have the opportunity to have, this really long period of time. And I want it to be as good and enjoyable and as quality as possible. And so the more that I have learned, the more I see how I have to invest in myself, in that health is wealth, and that this is equally as important as anything else that I'm doing in my life. As you said, it's not easy for us as women sometimes to say, yeah, this is my time. This is my time to invest in me. And that's what I think is the beauty of this, is give yourself a month and you'll want to give yourself 6.
And I think 6 months of focusing on yourself at a pace that works well for you is just priceless. Dulany, what would you say to someone thinking about this who is just not sure?
I mean, I think about when Shannon and I were talking about from the very first start, when I first met her. And she said she came in, she wasn't intending on staying with me. Here we are about 10, 11 years later, okay? But the one thing I talked to her was investing in herself. That was the thing I think was the draw when we were talking. As I started talking more to her, I said, you need to invest in your own health too. You take care of everybody else, you need to invest in you, because if you're good, trust me, everybody else will probably be good too. So if we're here, one thing we want to do is help people understand, invest in yourself. It's about you. This is your time right now. It's not the end of something, it's just moving to another phase, and we're here to help transition you into that phase then, and help thrive and grow stronger.
It's hopeful, just sitting here in the office talking about it. It's so hopeful. Well, thank you guys for all the time. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Shannon, for the amazing vision and willingness to take a risk and to serve and care for women in such meaningful ways. So thank you.